What's up, Lakers Nation? It feels good to be back talking about our team. But today's topic is one that's been brewing for a while, and honestly, it's starting to test the patience of fans and probably even the front office. Let's talk about Maxi Kleber. This dude, when he's actually out there on the court, you can see why people like him. He's solid. He knows his role. He plays hard. He spaces the floor, doesn't try to do too much, and he brings a certain chemistry when playing alongside stars who can use that pick-and-pop option. In theory, he's the kind of player that makes sense on a roster with guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, a stretch big who can knock down a couple of shots, open the lane, and give you a different look on offense. But the problem is simple and brutal. The best ability in this league is availability, and Maxi just hasn't been able to stay available. Every time you think he's ready to build momentum, something happens. It's become a frustrating pattern that started years ago and hasn't let up. The Lakers brought him in hoping to get a versatile big man who could give them spacing and defensive effort, but what they've really had is a player who spends more time rehabbing than contributing. The recent update about his oblique strain just adds another chapter to a story fans have read too many times. He's expected to be reevaluated in about 2 weeks, but let's be honest, that doesn't mean he'll be back in 2 weeks. That just means doctors will take another look, and if he's not 100%, they'll hold him out even longer. So realistically, we're talking about a guy who might miss another month or more, and even then, who knows how long he'll stay healthy once he returns. It's disappointing because the skill set is there. Maxi's the kind of player who won't blow you away with stats, but he can quietly swing a game with timely threes or a few smart defensive plays. He's the type of guy who can win you 1 or 2 games in a long season. And sometimes that's the difference between being the 3rd seed and the 5th seed in a packed Western Conference. But again, you can't help if you can't play. That's been the story for too long now. He's had injuries in Dallas. He's had injuries in the offseason. He's had injuries in the preseason. And now here we are again with another setback before the real grind even begins. And look, when you dig into the numbers, the story doesn't get much better. The most games he's ever played in a single season were back in his early years, 72, 71, 74. Since then, it's been a steady decline, 50, 59, 37, 43, 34. Those numbers tell you everything you need to know about why frustration is boiling over. The guy just can't stay on the court. It's not like this is one unlucky year. It's a pattern that's followed him for several seasons. And as much as you want to root for him, as much as you like his effort and professionalism, at some point you have to face reality. Now, let's talk about what this means for the Lakers. Maxi's on an expiring contract worth around $11 million. That's not nothing. In fact, that could be a valuable piece near the trade deadline. Right now, it doesn't help you much because you're not getting production from that roster spot. But as we inch closer to the middle of the season, an expiring deal like that could be gold for a team trying to reshape the roster or add depth. The Lakers front office isn't blind to this. They know that even though Maxi isn't giving them minutes, his contract could give them flexibility. It's one of those assets that doesn't show up in the box score, but can still make an impact if used correctly. If I'm the Lakers, I'm already listening to offers. You're not getting a star back, obviously, but maybe you can package him with another player and a second-round pick to bring in someone who can actually stay healthy and contribute right now. Even a solid rotation guy who's available every night is more valuable than someone who's constantly rehabbing. Think about it. In an 82-game season, consistency matters more than flashes. Having a player you can rely on every night, even if he's not spectacular, is huge. You need bodies that can go out there, play hard, and give your stars a breather without the team collapsing. Maxi just hasn't been that guy because he's never out there long enough to make that kind of impact. Now, I know some fans will say, but he fits the system. He's perfect for LeBron and AD. And yeah, in theory, he does. He's the kind of big who can stretch the floor and open up driving lanes. But theory doesn't win games. Availability does. If you can't count on a guy to suit up, his perfect fit doesn't mean much. And at 33 years old, turning 34 in January, it's not like we're talking about a young player who's still figuring out his body. This is who he is now, a talented but injury-prone veteran whose body keeps betraying him. That's harsh, but it's the truth. Even when he's healthy, you're not getting all-star production. For his career, he averages around 6 points, 4 rebounds, a block, and a handful of assists. He's a role player, and that's fine. Every team needs role players. But the value of a role player comes from consistency. You need that guy to be there every night, doing the little things, hitting open shots, playing smart defense. When those little things are missing for half the season, they're not little anymore. They become glaring weaknesses. Now imagine if the Lakers could flip that contract for a player who fills an actual need. Maybe a 3-and-D wing, maybe a defensive guard who can knock down open shots. Someone like Matisse Thybulle in Portland comes to mind. He's around the same salary range, offers defense and energy, and if you can attach a second-round pick to make it work, it's at least worth the conversation. Because right now, that $11 million tied up in an injured player feels like dead weight. It's money that could be used on someone who helps this team right now, especially in a conference that's stacked top to bottom. You think about how every game counts in the West. There's not much room for error when teams like Denver, Minnesota, and Oklahoma City are all fighting for position. 1 or 2 games can shift the entire playoff picture. So having someone who can't stay on the court, that hurts you more than people realize. And even if Maxey comes back in a few weeks, what's the confidence level that he stays healthy through the grind of the season? Based on history, it's not high. It's tough because you want to root for him. You see the effort, you know he's a good teammate, you know he wants to be out there helping. Nobody questions his work ethic. But the human body doesn't always cooperate, and that's where we are. He's been battling injuries for years, and it doesn't look like that trend is changing. If he plays a handful of games, gets hurt again, and misses another month, that cycle just keeps repeating. And at some point, the organization has to make a business decision. Basketball is emotional, but it's also practical. You can't let loyalty or hope outweigh the facts in front of you. This isn't to bash Maxey Kleber. It's just reality. When he's on, he's a useful player. He can hit 35% from 3, give you solid minutes, protect the rim a little, and stretch the defense. But those flashes are getting fewer and farther between. The Lakers are built to win now, not to wait for players to maybe get healthy someday. Every roster spot matters when you're trying to compete for a championship. Every $1 million counts when you're up against the cap. And right now, that $11 million feels like it's just sitting on the bench in street clothes. So as much as fans appreciate what he brings when he's actually available, the harsh truth is that the team probably needs to move on. Whether that's at the trade deadline or even sooner, it feels like a change has to happen. Not because Maxey did anything wrong, but because the Lakers can't afford to keep betting on what-ifs. They need players who can actually play, night in and night out, and help push this team toward the top of the standings. And unfortunately, that's something Maxey just hasn't been able to do for a long time. And that's the hardest part of this whole discussion. Because when you watch him play those rare stretches when he's healthy, you're reminded why coaches like having him on the roster. He's unselfish, he moves the ball, he understands spacing, and he doesn't need plays called for him to make an impact. He's the kind of player who does all the little things that don't show up on the highlight reel, but make a difference in winning basketball. You see him rotate on defense, contest shots, box out, and knock down an open corner 3 when the defense collapses. Those are the kind of moments that make coaches nod their heads in approval. But again, the issue isn't what he can do. It's that he can't stay healthy long enough to do it consistently. It's almost become a pattern you can predict. He gets healthy, builds a little rhythm, plays a handful of games, then boom, another injury. Sometimes it's a muscle strain, sometimes it's a back issue, sometimes it's a soft tissue problem. Whatever the case, it always ends the same way. Weeks of recovery, followed by cautious optimism, and then another setback. You can tell it's not just frustrating for fans, but probably for him too. Imagine being in the gym every day, putting in the work, wanting to contribute, and then your body just won't let you. That wears on a player mentally as much as physically, and it creates a tough situation for the coaching staff, who never quite know if they can rely on him from week to week. For the Lakers, the bigger question becomes what to do moving forward. Do you hold on to him, hoping he gets healthy and find a rhythm? Or do you accept that the best version of this team might come from moving on and getting someone who can actually give you minutes? The front office has to think strategically especially with how tight things are in the Western Conference. Every roster decision matters. Every dollar matters. They can't afford to have $11 million tied up in uncertainty. It's not about being harsh. It's about being realistic. You think about what this team is trying to accomplish. It's not just about making the playoffs. It's about contending. When you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and a supporting cast that's designed to win now, you don't have time to wait around for injuries to heal. This roster is built to compete in the present, not the future. That's why the Lakers have to look at the bigger picture. If a trade presents itself that brings back a player who can help right away, even if it's not a flashy name, it might be worth doing. Sometimes the most impactful moves aren't the ones that make headlines, but the ones that quietly fill gaps and make a team more stable. There's also the chemistry factor. Every season, teams build a rhythm based on who's available and who's in the rotation. When a guy is in and out of the lineup, it disrupts that flow. Players have to constantly adjust, lineups have to change, and it becomes harder to establish consistency. Coaches talk about the importance of rhythm all the time, and Maxi's situation has been the opposite of that. His absences forced the Lakers to rely more heavily on other bigs, which isn't necessarily bad, but it puts pressure on depth that's already thin. When you face teams with multiple frontcourt threats, that lack of reliable size becomes a problem. You can't help but think how different things could have been if Maxey had stayed healthy. Maybe he could have carved out a role similar to what he had in Dallas a few years ago, coming off the bench, hitting a few threes, giving solid defensive effort and allowing the starters to rest. Those were his best years, when he played around 20 minutes a game and contributed just enough to swing momentum in short bursts. But those days feel like a long time ago now. The body doesn't recover the same way it used to, and once a player starts dealing with recurring injuries, it becomes a cycle that's hard to break. Still, his name has value in trade talks simply because of that expiring contract. In today's NBA, expiring deals are almost like gold for teams looking to reset their books or gain flexibility for the next offseason. That's where the Lakers could benefit. Even if Maxey isn't helping them on the court, his contract could help them off it. The challenge, though, is finding a partner willing to make that deal. You need a team that sees value either in clearing salary space or taking a flyer on a player who might bounce back. It's not impossible, but it's tricky. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, Los Angeles. The NBA world is buzzing with what could be the most sensational trade rumor in recent memory. Whispers from sources close to the Lakers' front office suggest that the team is on the verge of completing a blockbuster deal that would bring not one, but three superstar talents to the City of Angels: Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Kevin Durant. If true, this move would instantly reshape the league and make the Lakers the most formidable team on paper in decades. According to insiders, the Lakers management has been in intense talks with multiple franchises over the past weeks, with negotiations reportedly escalating to a fever pitch in recent days. While official confirmation has yet to come, the buzz around the NBA community is deafening. Social media is ablaze with speculation, debates, and even memes imagining what it would look like if Los Angeles suddenly became home to a trio of MVP-level talent. For decades, the Lakers have been known for assembling superstars from the Showtime era to the Kobe and Shaq dynasty, and later with LeBron James. But the idea of Jokic, Gilgeous-Alexander, and Durant all donning the purple and gold seems almost surreal. Nikola Jokic, the Serbian big man known for his mind-boggling passing and versatile scoring, would instantly provide the Lakers with a generational talent at the center position. Meanwhile, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a rising star with elite athleticism and scoring ability, could become the team's dynamic two-way force, complementing LeBron James' veteran leadership. And of course, Kevin Durant, a lethal scorer and proven playoff performer, would add a level of championship pedigree few teams could match. Critics argue that assembling three superstars is risky, both financially and strategically, pointing to the delicate chemistry needed to balance such egos and playing styles. However, Lakers fans are already dreaming of the possibilities. A lineup capable of dominating any opponent, shattering records, and potentially securing multiple championships. If the rumors hold water, the NBA landscape could change overnight, forcing other franchises to consider equally radical moves just to stay competitive. While the deal remains unconfirmed, the mere possibility has sparked a frenzy across sports media. Analysts are debating rotation strategies, defensive matchups, and how coaches might maximize the potential of this hypothetical dream team. In locker rooms across the league, whispers of what if are circulating like wildfire, and rival teams are bracing for what could be an unprecedented power shift in professional basketball. Whether this blockbuster rumor materializes or fades into the world of speculation, one thing is certain. The Lakers have reignited the conversation about dominance in the NBA, and fans everywhere are glued to every new detail. The question now is not if the Lakers can make the trade, but what the rest of the league will do when, or if, they do. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.